Good morning, students. Our session of corporate finance. Now, as far as our last session was concerned, in that we already discussed about the introduction of receivable management and the meaning for the same. Now, as far as our today's session is concerned, today we are going to discuss about the cost of maintaining receivables. As we already know that nothing is free. Whatever you are going to manage, you are supposed to pay to get the maximum benefits for that particular thing. So here there are few costs which are attached with the receivable management. When you are going to manage your debtors, when you are going to manage your bills, at that time there are few specific unavoidable costs are there which the organization needs to bear. Under that, the first cost is known as the capital cost. Yes, when the capital cost is going to increase at time when the company allows maximum credit to their customers. So, the increased level of accounts receivable arising out of the liberal credit policy and which result into the maximization of the capital cost. When the companies allowed maximum credits to their customers without any limit, at that time it is a worst situation for the company to bear these kind of capital cost. And capital cost is totally unavoidable. You are not going to avoid this cost. This is because there is a time lag between the sale of goods to customer and receipts of money from them. So during that time gap, during that period, whatever cost is going to manage by the organization for the management of their debtors, so that cost is known as capital cost. Now somehow when the additional funds are there, so when additional funds may either be raised from the outside or out of profit of the organization. So when we are going to raise the fund from the outsiders, again there are two types of fund which the company is going to raise. The first one is equity and the second one that is borrowed. If the company issued or if the company raised borrowed fund, at that time they are supposed to bear the specific cost on this borrowed fund. So again that will leads to increase the capital cost. So in a practical, it is really very good to increase your sales, allow maximum credits to your customer, but at the same time the company is going to bear these kinds of capital cost at a large level. Then after the second cost is the collection cost. These costs are incurred in collecting the payment from the customer to whom credit sales have been made. Here they are going to manage or they are going to bear some kinds of cost when the employees are going to collect the funds from their customers. At that time, whatever the traveling costs are there, whatever the stationery costs are involved, any legal charges are going to be there, or any kind of postal charges. So these costs will known as the collection cost when we are going to manage our receivables. Then after the third one, that is administrative cost. Yes, here a special staff is involved in the management of our receivables. So whatever salary we are paying to them, that is known as our administrative cost. Plus whatever maintenance is required for the credit department or creation and collection of the credit department, again that is known as the administrative cost. The staff cost is also there in administrative cost. Then after, the stationery which is required for the management of a special books of accounts of our receivables, that is again known as the administrative cost. Then after, fourth one, that is default cost. Default cost means when our debtors fails to pay on time, or when they become insolvent, or they are not in a position to pay a sufficient amount of their credit. So whatever cost the organization is bearing, so that cost is known as default cost. So generally these four costs are involved, or they are directly attached with the receivable management. The company is not able to avoid this cost, but they try to minimize their cost, because when we are dealing with the receivables, these costs are going to be managed by us. So company tries to minimize these kind of cost which is attached with the receivables. So that's about the cost of maintaining receivables. Now let's see the next point, that is known as types of credit policy. Yes, whatever credit terms we are allowing to our debtors, that terms is known as credit policy. Now if we are talking about the credit policy, generally credit policy is differ from organization to organization, because it is totally depends upon the nature, the size, and the types of product in which they are engaged, or the types of services in their rendering. So types of credit policy is going to be adopted by the organization as per their choice, as per their convenience. Normally there are two types of credit policy. The first one, that is known as liberal or lenient credit policy, and the second one is known as a strict credit policy. Now the name itself suggests that is the liberal credit policy. Now liberal credit policy, in that the customers are allowed liberal terms for the credit sales, and credit is granted for the longest period of time. Even the customer is financially healthy, then and then, or if they are financially weak or they are financially doubtful, then and then company easily allows credits to their customer, and that is also for the longest period of time. Now in liberal credit policy, the customers are not going to be analyzed with the proper criterias, or we can say that the company is not putting the maximum emphasis on the credit worthiness of their customers. So they just want to raise their sales, they just want to expand their sales. So at that time they are allowing this kind of policy to their customers. Generally liberal credit policy do not produce any kind of benefits to the company. Ultimately it raises your credit sales, but on the other side the default or the loss of debtors will be maximized when the liberal credit policy is there. because customers are not paying on time, they are not consider the firm's rules and regulations, or sometimes they are not at all interested in the payment of that capital to the organization. And the another policy that is known as strict credit policy. Yes, the name itself suggests the company do not easily grant credits to their customers, because in this strict credit policy, first and foremostly, customers are going to be analyzed financially by the organization. If they all are the financially strong, if their credit worthiness is maximum in the market, if they are able to pay on time, then and then the strict or then and then the product is going to be sold to the customers. Again, the time period of the strict credit policy is really very short. So, within the shortest period of time, the customers are supposed to pay to the organization. So, strict credit policy is somehow very important for each and every organization, because ultimately in strict credit policy the company is not able to enhance their sales, because few customers are only liable for the credit sales, and rest of the customers who are not sound in the terms of credit, they are not going to be considered by the organization. So, in this period of time, in strict credit policy, the company is not able to increase their sales, and their market share will be declined as compared to their sales of the competitors. But again, the chances of default will be minimum to minimum in strict credit policy, because no fake or default customer is selected by the company. So ultimately, the strict credit policy is good for the organization. So, it's about the types of credit policy. Now, let's see the difference between the liberal and strict credit policy. First and foremostly, we are going to focus on the meaning of this strict and liberal credit policy. When a customer is allowed a longer credit period for the payment of credit sales, or when money is accepted even after credit policy, it is a liberal or lenient credit policy. So, in liberal credit policy, the credit term is really very high, it is maximum to maximum. Then, after the meaning of strict credit policy. When a customer is allowed a limited credit period for the payment of credit sales, so that credit policy is known as strict credit policy. Then after, liberal credit policy leads to increased sales and rise in profitability, because immediately it will shoot up your sales, while in strict credit policy the sales do not increase, and as a result the profitability does not increase at all. Now, due to liberal policy, the total amount of receivables increase, which reduced liquidity and more working capital is required. Then after, due to strict credit policy, the amount of receivable remains within a limit and less working capital is needed in the business. Then after, the liberal credit policy leads to increase bad debts. The chances of default will be maximized because again there is an increase in the collection cost, and when the overall cost raises, that will leads to increase the default, or the chances of default will be high. But in strict credit policy, the amount of bad debts will be limited, or the company is able to control the bad debts, and the remaining cost, the cost of collection, do not raise as far as the strict credit policy is concerned. Now normally the prestige of the organization, or we can say that the goodwill, the prestige of the organization improves among the customer. So customers select our organization for the credit purchase because we are allowing a liberal policies to them. No scrutinizing, no additional analysis of the customers are there. So customer easily select our organization for the credit purchase. While in strict credit policy, the marginal customers move away from the organization because they know that if they are not paying on time, then the company will not allow any further or any future business with us, and ultimately the company will take the legal steps towards us. So strict policy, in strict credit policy, each and every types of customers are not interested in our organization. So that's about the types of credit policy. Now if we are talking about in our practical life, the organization, they are not allowing any kind of strict policies to their customers or any kind of liberal policies to them, because ultimately company want to raise their sales with the maximum safety level. So that is only possible with the help of moderate credit policy. So sometimes customers are going to be selected as per their criterias of the organization. If the company feels that the customer is genuine, they are going to pay on time, so for them the company will allow a liberal policy. But if the organization found that the company, that the customer is not sound, or the chances of default is maximum to maximum in this particular customer, at that time they are going to avoid that kind of customers by putting the strict credit policy. So in real life, the credit policy, the credit terms are going to be changed from the perceptions of our customers, because here company is not going to select the particular credit policies to every kinds of their customers. So ultimately somehow company needs to allow a liberal policies to them, and then company is able to raise their market share with the maximum credit sales.